Good afternoon, class. Welcome back to our lesson for today. Now, in this session, we're going to be looking at the designing aspect of our clutch first. Alright? Now, please remember that in our lesson, when you have questions, you raise your hands. I will call upon individual persons, and that's how we proceed, right? Yes. Now, what do we plan to accomplish in today's lesson? Now, we have two objectives that we want to accomplish this afternoon, and those two objectives are: you're going to continue to begin. You're gonna begin the design of your clutch first, alright? And you'll begin the burning technique on your clutch first. Now, on the board, we have the definition for burning on leather. Do you guys know what is burning on leather? Anybody know what burning on leather? Or another name for burning on leather is pyrography. Can anybody tell me in their own words what that means? I'll have Ashley. Can you please tell me in your own word what you understand by burning on leather?
Burning on leather is like when you burn the leather to get a design.
Okay, that's correct. Delisha, in your own words, tell me what's burning on leather. Draw on your design, and then you first use the tools, right, to accomplish. So on the screen here, we have something, an example that looks like burning on leather. All right. Now, let us read what burning on leather is, or leather pyrography. Let's begin. Burning on leather. Pyrography, or leather burning, is the artistic practice of using heated tools such as a metal tip pen to scorch or engrave and draw permanent designs onto the surface. Alright, likewise we have on the screen. Right? It is primarily done on vegetable tan leather to create contrasting detailed artwork, shading or lettering on items like wallets, belts, journals. Alright? Now in a nutshell, that's what burning on leather is. It's where you scorch the leather or you engrave, right? And draw a permanent design on the leather, right? Now, we just read something very interesting in that paragraph. Who can tell me what type of leather it said we burn on? Yes, Ashley? Yes, but it says specifically vegetable tan leather, right? And bear in mind, our vegetable tan looks something like this. The vegetable tan leather, it has a slightly brown color, right? A brownish color, right? And so there's two types of leather. There's vegetable tan leather and there is chrome tan leather. The chrome tan leather looks white, like a pale white color, right? And that was done using acid and chemicals and so on, right? We don't burn on that one because you won't get the same effect, right? So students, okay students, so on the screen, we're going to be looking at a video, a short video that shows you how the burning on leather is done. Or we call it leather pyrography. What is it called? Leather pyrography, right? Alright, so do enjoy watching this video, and I have questions for you. So please pay attention.
This is super easy and I love it. all we have to do is color the back of our image with some pencil. Though the softer pencils like the B6 range or whatever work better, you can do this with any kind of pencil. The key is to make sure you cover the entire back of the image. Now for my leather, I'm using this scrap piece of 8-ounce veg tan that I had lying around. After it's been cut to size, all I do is place my image where I want it on the leather, and then trace those lines with a stylus or a pencil. You really don't have to push down hard on this at all. Just nice even pressure along all of those lines. This transfers the graphite onto the surface, leaving a perfect copy of the image. This one makes me run the gambit of being really impressed at how easy it is and feeling really dumb that I hadn't thought of it before. Alright, moving on to actually get to the burning of this, I end up using this cheap wood burner that I've had for years. I think I picked it up at like Michael's for $20-something. It's not a really top of the line one at all. But it doesn't matter because it worked great. That being said, there's definitely a trick to doing this. I found that if you delay it all, it ends up leaving these little dots where you burned too much. The key is to draw your line in one smooth motion, making first contact and releasing without pausing at all. Okay, so after practicing, it was time to move on to the real thing. And this actually turned out to be really simple. At first I was a little intimidated thinking I'd ruin it, but again I found as long as I tried to move smoothly and I didn't linger in one area for too long, everything came out really clean. Also, there was no need to push down on this. The heat from the burner is more than enough to get the job done. If you feel like you find yourself needing to push in to get the burn on, it's probably because your tip started to cool. This happened because that heat is getting transferred into the leather, right? So just remove it from the leather to let it heat up again for a second and then start drawing again. I did find you could use that cooling to good effect though to get the shading going on. Starting off really dark and then transitioning lighter. And check that out! That came out really good. That, I gotta hang it on the wall right there. That came out really good. And for my first time doing it in such kind of an intricate, badass design, I was really excited with how that came out. Now for my next interesting tip on this one, it's actually one from one of you that you left in the comment section below. And that is using just regular beeswax to give my leather a nice aged look. All I have to do is apply the wax to the surface of the leather and then burnish it with a rag in the areas you want to look darker. The friction causes that color to become deeper in those areas and gives it a really cool antique aged look. And there you have it. You can now sear symbols, forge filigrees, and blazon emblems into your leather. I hope you liked this skill. If you did, why don't you give me some of that thumbs up?
Yes, and that is a wrap to our video. Now, the tool that, who can remember the name of the tool? Well, so for example, here's our tool, a burning tool with which are the leather pyrography tool that we're going to be using for burning our leather. So take a look at it. Have you ever seen this before? Have you ever seen one of this before? Before class sessions, have you ever seen one of this? So I know this is similar to when I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with when you do soldering work. It looks similar but it's not the same, right? William. Okay, so that's for you to look at. Alright. Now we're gonna move on to you transferring your designs and you using the actual burning tool on your piece. Alright? Alright students, so we're gonna continue now the design of our leather. So here you go. So I'm going to give you the tools and I'm going to guide you as you work. So students, here we have our burning tool, right? Remember, safety is always first. You have to be very careful while using this burning tool because you can burn yourself. And remember, safety is first, alright? So you gotta be very, very careful. Alright? So, when using this burning tool, remember, what are some tips we just learned from the video? What must you do? To get a straight line, what should you do?
Keep your arms still.
Yes, actually, keep your hands still. Did you tell me something else? Can you please pick up for me?
This is a drill.
Draw neatly. Yes.
Make sure you line perfect.
Make sure you line perfect. Okay. Well, I mean, we are humans, right? We make mistakes, so but try to keep your hands stable so you have a straight line and that you don't get dots. All right. So you gotta keep your hand as steady as possible. All right. So I'm gonna demonstrate for you how this is done, and then I'm gonna guide you as you work on yours. All right. All right. So here we would have begun our design. We transferred our design onto our leather. It's now time for us to shade our design. Alright? So remember, you have varying tips for your burning tool. This is the chisel tip. So it has a wider effect. So we're shading now. Onto the leather. And for you to get varying shades of darkness, right? It depends on how the pressure you add to your tool. Alright? So if you want a very dark shade, you press a bit more. And if you want a little, not so much. Alright? So this is like a pencil, just that this one here we're using heat. You have to control how you're shading. So it's like shading, right? So you see me, I'm pressing, and as I go out, I release the pressure and it gets lighter. Alright? See that? Looks very lovely so far. Alright, and then you continue as you go. Any question from me, student? Do you want any clarity on anything? Anything you're not sure of?
Miss, if you hold the tape, what will happen?
You're gonna get burned, Ashley. You can't hold the tape, it's very hot. Remember, this is current we're dealing with. Right? Alright. Any other question for clarity?
Miss, and after that you can add paint.
Yes, we can use, if you want, you can use the bare burning technique, or if you want, you can make the technique whereas you can add paint to it, or there is something called letter dye.
And why are you shading it?
I'm shading it to add value and to add contrast to the composition so that it doesn't look clean, right? Remember, it's art, visual arts, and the aesthetics of our composition or our work matters. Yeah. So students, this is the finished result of burning on leather or leather pyrography. Alright, so now it is your turn. It's now your turn So work on your piece so that you can also achieve the same result using the same technique. Okay, so ensure that you utilize the technique. Be careful with your points. Alright, try to get a consistent line and consistent shading. Remember, this might be a bit more difficult because with a pencil you have a bit more control. So as we're wrapping up our design, alright, please ensure that you're working on the pressure. Don't press too hard. Alright, and this is looking good so far. So here we have a design of a flower, and this came out really nicely. Alright, the shading technique was nicely done, nicely enhanced and utilized. Great job. Alright, continue working, guys. Y'all looking good. Great progress. Okay, students, so I am happy with the results we have gotten from our lesson this afternoon, and I hope that you guys learned something, you will enjoy the lesson. Alright, now I have some questions for clarity. Alright, I'm going to answer as I call you. Now, come and tell me in your own words what letter pyrography is again, or what is something you learned from this afternoon. Go Ashley.
The letter pyrography is when you burn a letter. Example for the double letter.
Yes.
When you burn a letter, it was like shaded or what color, like paint on it.
Yes.
And you can make wallets, belt,
Yes.
or a horse.
Great. Now the answer. Please give her a round of applause. So, Sing, can you tell me what you've learned from today's lesson? You learned to shade properly, right? And yes. And one thing that I would have seen this afternoon is that you guys would have thrived and persevered, I can say, because I know this tool is one that can be difficult to use. Alright? Alright, thank you for this lesson. Now our next lesson, we're going to be moving on to making a leather belt. Alright? Please ensure you work with your materials, alright, and come prepared for your next class. Until next class, I shall see you.